Okay, now it's time for some tweet threads to discuss. So, Fred asked this question: what's your pet theory about the causes of birth rate decline? Note that it's pretty much worldwide at this point. And then Quinn said, women wised up to the fact that the majority of men want kids in a way a child wants a puppy, knowing full well the mom is going to pick up after it and do most of the labor required. Men don't train to be loving, empathetic, and present fathers the way women are expected to be mothers. This is absolutely true. And we now have social media. We have women sharing their stories consistently across the globe, across social medias, across multiple platforms, some making videos, some typing things out, some making pictures, all kinds of things. So single women know this. That is the reason why they would rather get a pet. But wait, there's more. Quinn had more. She says there are no rewards given in society for having children and sacrificing the woman's mortality. Jobs are lost, and mothers are all but publicly shunned and punished when their child starts screaming and crying. There is no village, there is no financial kickback. There are no third spaces where children and young adults can be with their peers without the expectation of spending money. Everything we could have as resources became microtransactional and subscription based faster than we could regulate it or predict corporate greed. If you ask men why they want kids, their answer is usually furthering the legacy, not because they think they would be an exceptional parent to it, not because they want to build a deeper connection to the woman they love, not because they provide any real future or material. Before having kids, women should be asking potential mates about their future preparations for a child. Ask men what are their experiences with childcare, if they help their mom, and what their savings for a house and childcare looks like. Be stingy, stingy, stingy with your wombs. Our daughters have learned that having children isn't an effing game. A child is not a prop for status. It's 20 plus years of a commitment. Your parenting partner will be the most important decision you can ever make, and only women seem to take it with the seriousness it deserves. And then she said final remarks. So that's it. Women need to take it even more seriously. The birth rate needs to continue to plummet to hell until men catch on, the male leaders, men on an individual level, until these people gather that they need to be participating in the home life with children and everything involved with being a parent and an adult in this society. They need to do more. And until such time as they do, the birth rate needs to plummet to hell. Now, Shadow jumped in her comments and said, this is what you should have led with because it's the actual problem. Every aspect of society is rapidly becoming anti child, and mothers have been disrespected for decades in favor of giving the capitalist class more disposable workers. And then Quinn responds with, feel free to write your own thread, friend. Please, why do people do this? If somebody is not saying something in the way that you would want or expect, do it yourself. Quit thinking that your words and thoughts are going to magically come out of somebody else's fingers or mouth. It doesn't work like that. Why are people like this? The third path says, as if wage slavery is a meaningful thing to do. Trusted source says, for real. My Social Security payout as my husband's spouse is lower than it is for me individually based on my earnings from before I quit to raise kids. I've been a stay-at-home mom for over a decade. And if you ask Social Security, I literally did nothing. That's how we value motherhood. Exactly. Women are not valued in this society. And the younger generation of women know it and understand it because we're not actually going out and working. And so what happens, that motherhood penalty hits women, and single women know that that is going to change their financial trajectory for like the rest of our lives if you come out of the workforce. I came out of the workforce. I do know this. So the younger women are saying, get someone else to do it. And that is what is causing the patriarchy, the patriarchal leaders to fail and flail and try to figure out what they can do to turn it around. But they can't do anything until women as a whole are valued. Okay, now Alex Smith says women talk about the high cost of daycare, but Germany and Sweden have good, almost free government daycare, and their fertility rate is very low too. To me, kids are a ton of work for women, and nowadays everyone knows how to avoid pregnancy. So who'd have more than one or two kids tops? Childbirth hurts, and raising kids is exhausting. And that this is my point. Women, I think where we're seeing the global fertility rate is where women really want to be. Women didn't want to have all of those broods of children. They just didn't have choices. Now that women have choices, some of them are opting in, some are opting out. This is where the equilibrium needs to stay, and governments are going to have to figure out how to moderate their economy to match where women stand. They're not going to be able to pressure women into having these kids with heavy handed Christo fascism or these regimes that seek to strip rights from women. It's just not going to work. Quinn says, funny how we all as women came to the exact same conclusion all around the world is not just effing worth it anymore. Then this person, Marin, says, men are the ones that don't want to have children because there is no such as wife or mother material, but you can say goodbye to the Western civilization. And Quinn says, okay, bye. Men are the one making that decision, even though men as leaders are like just scrambling, have more kids, because they know that women hold the key. Germany is chiming in. She says, I live in Germany, and even with the help from our government, it's just expensive to raise a child, both financially but also emotionally. We still have the same issues of men wanting kids for the aesthetic of being a dad without putting in any work. And Yoon Loki says, no one speaks about the bodily toll of children have on a woman's body. Forget pregnancy, insane hormones, the actual birth. You have a human being demanding to be fed from your own body exclusively for 6 months, but almost to 2 years, even when you're tired, sick, or depressed. Imagine you're literally growing a baby for almost a year. And even while your body is, trying to heal itself, you got a baby on your boob sucking nutrients from you. Oh, yes, I did this for 2 years with two babies. So each baby took about 3 years before I got them off and eating food. It's a commitment. It is a commitment. And one I don't want to do again. I did my two. I put out two of them. I'm done. All right, we got Sweden checking in. She says, in Sweden, yes, we have good daycare, but both parents typically work full time, and the mom often still takes on most childcare responsibilities. It's so important to listen to the global community because the global community is saying pretty much the same thing, that dads need to participate more in these in the household and with the children. Oral says in Germany is a lack of places in daycare, and the parental leave is really small. For example, some countries from Eastern Europe have a much more generous parental leave compared with Germany. Um, UWU says, I'm from Germany. Unless you live in Berlin, daycare is not free. My cousin paid hundreds of dollars per month for her two kids. Quinn definitely had a great thread with lots of comments to flesh it out. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So Cindy reposted Quinn's tweet where Quinn was talking about the majority of men want kids in a way that a child wants a pet, knowing that mom is going to have to do everything. So Sydney says, here again, with apologies to those who follow me, this is the most succinct and sharp cartoon on the subject. And in the subject, in the cartoon, the man is proposing. And in his proposal, he says, would you do me the honor of taking on even more responsibilities while my life remains largely unchanged? Because let's be real, women do take on the majority of the household so that the man can go to work, still do his thing, still have his life gets to continue on. His money making path is the same. He might even make more money. He'll get more status because he is a husband and a father. So they do win. They want to act like women are the ball and chain, but they are actually winning. So Drop Dead Beautiful says, I would agree with this. Women are seeing motherhood and marriage and the actions of men a lot clearer now. And this is exactly how I've seen men treat their kids. Krista says, I just watched the episode of Sex and the City where Steve wants a baby, and Miranda says no because she knows it'll be a lot of work on her part. So he pressures her into getting a puppy instead, which she ends up taking care of while he sleeps and goes out socializing. So Teddy says, true. I love not being straight. It actually sounds sickening. Also, nobody has the money for kids these days, but conservatives that want to bully childless people don't want to provide them with the wealth to raise one. Yes, there are some people that are sitting on mountains of money, and so everybody else is food insecure and housing insecure. Please make it make sense. Michaela says, it's effing exhausting as someone who's looking for a partner in life, not a baby daddy. So I am shifting threads. I'm not shifting themes. So Elon Musk is definitely stressed that people are opting out of having babies, despite the fact that he's sitting on a mountain of money, collecting more, and lots of other people are like, "Please, sir, might you spare some coins?" All right, but Jack Morley says, here's a quick breakdown, possibly on why birth rates are declining. Kids cost money, a lot of it. As a young adult, I don't want to put myself in debt and then struggle to raise a child in an unstable financial environment. Not everyone is rich. Elon Musk is, though. And then Walla Mizzou says, I have 4 kids, and being poor has done nothing to curb being a good father. I've said it before, having plenty or having nothing, God will provide. I'll say, I'll say with how hard things are, we have enough. So God, when your electricity is about to get cut off, when you run out of food, when your kids need new shoes, just pray about it. Just go to the store and say, God got me. People need to live in reality world. Keo says, don't make it a religious thing. This is real life. Being poor does affect having a kid. And then Walla Mizzou says, it has not affected us in the slightest. That is, in a negative way. Scarcity has taught my kids to use their imagination and how being bored is a benefit, not a burden. Yeah, this wouldn't work in my world. Kids are expensive, and I'm glad that I just had 2 of them, but it's still expensive. I don't know where these people get off saying this stuff. Now we got to sprinkle in a little red pillar. So the laughing man says birth rates are declining not just because of expense, they are declining because of modern dating culture. Men are choosing to leave the dating market and go it alone because most of today's women in the US are horrible. Couple that with the court system practically working overtime in favor of women, and you have a formula for the creation of MGTOW. You can't have babies without men and women liking each other, and men are choosing to take themselves out of the equation altogether. Whatever floats their boat. The birth rate needs to plummet to hell, so the laughing man and the rest of MGTOW should totally go their own way and stay over there. Syrup says, I love my girlfriend. We would love to have a kid, but we can't even afford a house and bills. I knew Diaries Wolf. Women not putting up with mistreatment or abuse is not being horrible. Laughing my butt off. Spend 5 minutes on Reddit's relationship advice, and you start seeing the bigger picture of modern relationship issues. Women don't have to sacrifice their happiness or life for a man who won't clean. Sassy says, nah, I think men are lazy. They don't want to do the courtship of dating, want women to pay for half the date, and then expect X. It's so weird. Like you're supposed to impress her, not be a dirtbag. Open the door, buy her flowers, wine and dine her. My buddy Penny says the existing dating culture is unhealthy. The modern youngsters think that marriage is a burden and do not trust long-term commitments. They think religion and wedding vows are outdated. Yes, because religion oppresses women. So yeah, there's that. And wedding vows, not everybody takes their wedding vows seriously. And most of the burden is put on women to just accept whatever treatment men give. So people are opting out of that. Monte Carlo says, this sounds exactly like South Africa. So I don't know much about South Africa, but I think that the global condition of dating and marriage and having babies women are pretty much saying the same thing. All right, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about these tweet threads. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.